Good evening, I'm Scott Eburn, and tonight's Bucks Super Rugby has descended on the northeast, Kingston Park to be exact, for tonight's round 8 fixture. Kingston Park, of course, the home to Newcastle Falcons. They go tomorrow in the Aviva Premiership down at the Ricoh Arena in Wasp, but tonight's fixture is Bucks Super Rugby. Northumbria, the trendsetters at the start of the season, against neighbourhood rivals Durham. I'm joined by Alex Knowles. Alex, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, great, thanks.
This season's Bucks Super Rugby has 9 teams. We added one from last year, Nottingham Trent, the new boys. They will play 16 fixtures each over the course of the next few months, at which point the Bucks Super Rugby champion will be decided. On Wednesday night, we went to Hartpury College, where they took on early season contenders Leeds Beckett. Here's the highlights. Game got off to a slow start, but it was Hartpury who took the early lead off the tee via their scrum half, Charlie Chapman. Good response by the Leeds Beckett number 9, both scrum halves taking penalties, but this was the big man at fullback for Leeds Beckett, missing his first long range attempt. Some quick play at the breakdown by Clementson here. The Hartpury number 7 managed to pluck out Malik Holden, outside centre for Hartpury for the first try of the game. It was Hartpury who took a early advantage in this one. The last season's triple champions looking back to their best, but they didn't manage to quite nudge themselves far enough ahead, with Leeds Beckett keeping in contention. A great bit of play here, scrum half and wing link, with Dan Leake, the right wing for Leeds Beckett, collecting the grubber through and going in under the posts. Start of the second half, both sides went in at the break, all square, 13 all. Quite a cagey opening 40 minutes, but it's around about the 60-minute mark where things really got going. Interception here by Elias Caven, showing a clean pair of heels from 80 metres out. Huge cheers from the Hartpury faithful, and it was at this point we really thought they were going to pull this one out the bag and run away with it, but didn't quite appear to be the case. As look at this, straight out the long range textbook. Leeds Beckett fullback, 53 metres out, like an atomic weapon of a right boot, in off the post. Crossbar challenge 101. We see here Leeds Beckett classic. Off the line out, rolling maul. Even the centres got involved, and you thought here it was going to be the hooker that took it, but it was Dan Kelly, the outside centre, who found himself in the most precarious of positions for a number 13. Still at this stage, Leeds hadn't quite pulled away. Only 3 points in it, but less than 20 minutes on the clock. They began to turn the screw. Too many unforced errors, and it was Tuipulotu Nuku, man of the match from last week's fixture and the game before, who crashed over for his first try of the game. Off the tee, fleet of foot scrum half Charlie Chapman kept them in the loop, but it wasn't enough. Less than 6 minutes to go. Eagle spanned second row. Stewart now put his paws on this. Look at that. chased it down like a gazelle, dived on the ball, but did appear to really hurt his right arm. He came off after that, but it was a Warriors try. So Northumbria have been the early trend setters so far in this season's Bucks Super Rugby League. They've won 5 out of 6. Durham, they're still playing catch-up. But on the basis they've won 11 out of the last 12 fixtures between the two sides over 6 years. We're up for a huge Friday Night Lights game this evening at Kingston Park. Expecting best part of 1,000 people here from both universities. Alec, you've had a chance to look at both teams in detail. Who are you looking forward to watching the most out of the two sides?
Going back to saying that Northumbria have only won one of the last 12 fixtures between these two sides. They are unbeaten at home, and I think that at the home advantage, I'm going to say Northumbria win here, but you know, anything can happen in rugby.
Okay, we had a chance to catch up with head coach for Northumbria, Darren Fern, earlier on, and here's what he had to say about the game. So I'm joined by Darren Fern, head of rugby at Northumbria University. Darren, thanks very much for joining us before the game. Just give us a bit of an insight into how your boys have been preparing for the match today. It's a big grudge match between yourselves and Durham.
Yeah, it is. We obviously had a bye week last week, so we had a bit of time to get ourselves recovered and whatnot. And yeah, like you say, it's a tough. Every game's tough in this league, as I'm sure you're aware. Durham's no different. It's a bit different in the fact that it's a local derby, and both these teams are used to travelling many a mile for their game. So yeah, it adds a bit of spice. I know their coaches well. I know quite a few of their players. So it should be a good game.
We've already seen a bit of banter between both sets of players. You know, a few Falcons boys in both of the sides. Having the link with Falcons here and being able to play your home games at Kingston Park, how much does that help you to get towards where you want to be at the end of the season? Yeah,
it's a cracking pitch, it's a cracking venue, and it works pretty well on that front. And it's great for the lads to play at a Premiership rugby ground for all the home games this season, and it raises the standard a bit, because obviously you see it's a fast track, which we've had to adapt to, and we like to think it benefits us. So yeah, it's a cracking venue, and it's a great link to have.
Any insights you can give us on how you're going to go and play the game tonight? Keep it fast, keep it loose, or keep it tight and kick for the corners?
I wouldn't say we don't play too structured, but we all know what we're doing, so there is a structure to it, but we don't say you have to go here, you have to go there. We're not like robots. The lads they've been quite clever rugby players. The half backs dictate the backs well, the forwards do the grunt. So it's nothing that no one will not know how to do. We've just been going pretty well, and that'll be no different. Like I say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So we'll just be getting better and better each week, hopefully.
And you boys have been pretty much the trend setters this year in the league. You were there at the top for pretty much the first 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What are you going to be changing, or anything going to be changing for today? Looking forward towards the end of the Christmas break.
I think like I say, it's not about changing stuff. It's about getting better at things. We've not really had an 80-minute performance yet this season. We've either started with a bang and gone 30 odd points up, and then late points in second half, or vice versa. So it's about going out there again against a tough team, and if we're not at the races tonight, we'll get beat. That's simple as. If we're at the races and we're all concentrate on our role, I'd like to think we do the business, and it's about upping our game as well. We're not the underdog. Well, we still probably are the underdogs in some people's eyes, but people know a bit more about us, and it's about raising them standards for ourselves more than anything.
Certainly after that 53-50 game at Exeter, nobody would class you as the underdogs.
Yeah.
And have you seen an improvement across the board from the Bucks Super Rugby this year, or do you think the game's improved across all the teams this season in comparison to last year? I
think the standard's up. So I think the teams like ourselves, and there's a couple of others, other teams who probably got caught out a little bit, and it was sort of like a transition year and getting used to it. I know we've got pretty much the same squad as last year. There's a couple of new lads, Josh Bragman and Lewis Berg, Jake Rogers. There's probably 3 or 4 in tonight's squad that are new. The rest all played last year, so it's been priceless them playing last year. So they've got used to it. The standard has increased, but they're a year older, between 18 and 21 lads are developing all the time, physically and with rugby knowledge. So yeah, it's a cracking league, it really is.
Teams beginning to roll out onto the hallowed Kingston Park turf. Not so much natural grass anymore. Back in 2014 they changed it to an artificial pitch to match Saracens, but the teams for this evening: Northumbria University, the home side. In the front row, Jake Elwood, Michael Newstead and Jamie Ross. In the row, Bloodworth and Bordill. Back row, Solway Jenkinson and the captain, Ollie Robinson. Christy Rogers, Wakoki, Masai, Berg, Muir and Howarth making up the back contingent. Have a look at Durham now. Conter, Chadwick, Hayes, Markham, Clegg, Duffy, Devine. The front 8. Colin, Catterick, Wyman, Wilson, Norman, Hardman and Rawcliffe make up the backs. The game is underway here. Bucks Super Rugby Round 8, powered by Rugby Vertical. Hashtag Bucks Super Rugby if you want to get in touch on Twitter and social media. Hello to everyone watching on Unilad Sport. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching from the SU in Durham, hello as well. Best of luck to your team this evening. Referee for tonight's game, Neil Chivers, assisted by Mick Harris and Dave Charlton. Northumbria looking to move this one quickly. We had Darren Fern earlier on say they like to play, and this fast track's going to help with that.
Lack of discipline there at the start of the game. Knock on from Northumbria, but it looks like we're going back for an original penalty to Northumbria.
So it will fall to the hands of Jake Rogers. No, I thought they were going to kick for the corner there, but it is scrum 15 metres in from the far touchline on the halfway line. A great attacking platform, centre of field. Still waiting for people to flood in, but a number of supporters sticking in the warm inside the Falcons clubhouse here. Number 9 for Northumbria, James Christie. He'll put the ball into the scrum. Christie having a great season so far.
Yeah, 6 tries this season from Christie. He'll be looking to get a few more tonight.
Artificial pitch certainly helps. I remember the days when Newcastle Falcons teams would dread coming up here on a Friday night in the Aviva Premiership. Boggy pitch, it would just be kicking for the corners and sticking it up your jumper rugby, but we won't be seeing any of that from the young Northumbria and Durham University students tonight. And Neil Chivers will not be taking any prisoners at the scrum.
Nice early scrum here.
Good platform, bringing in the right winger, Will Muir for Northumbria. Long legs of his, pumping hard into the heart of the Durham defence. Rogers plucking out Newstead. Newstead going to ground, he's not held, so he still rolls forward. He's still going, a great marching run by the hooker. Christie plucking out Bordill. Bordill fumbles and it's in the hands of a purple shirt.
Good early start here from Northumbria. They'll be looking to build on that. Maybe not lose the ball next time, but good start.
No excuses at the moment. It's nice and dry, not much condensation or precipitation in the northeast today. Durham looking to go themselves down the far touchline through the hands of Charlie Norman. Charlie Norman out last week through injury, but back in the side today.
Will this prove costly trying to play out from the back here?
Well, they seem happy to play it at the moment. No real kicking platform as it stands. Oh, almost half an offload there from Tom Catterick, but it's into the hands of the big number 8, Ben Foles. Ben Foles trying to bosh off one. He sits down Lewis Berg. What a hit that was. Berg struggling to get back onto his feet. Into the hands of Rawcliffe, the Durham fullback. He shows a clean pair of heels. Devine going on his own down the near touchline, pops it back inside. Can Durham get an early score? Wakoki trying to hold it up. The referee says it's held up. What a last-ditch tackle by the Northumbria left wing. It looked as if Rory Hardman was going to skate under the post there, but well, George Mokoki-Koki, second in the Bucks Super Rugby try-scoring ranks this season. And he had to show some wheels in defence there, Alec, as he came back for that last-ditch tackle.
Yeah, he did. I think a lot of the players had left him there. It did look like an easy 2-on-1, but great to see a bit of covering back there, and no try.
Attacking scrum though for Durham. Jacob Collin, their scrum half, will look to set his backs alight early on. Hear the banging around the ground on the hoardings at Kingston Park. That's the Durham faithful. The referee awarding a free kick to Northumbria. Not happy with the conduct of the Durham players in the scrum. I don't know if you spotted what that was, Alec.
I couldn't see exactly what that was, but whatever it was, wasn't great. They had a good attacking opportunity there, not far from the Northumbria from the Northumbria try line. I don't think Darren Fern's going to be happy with that.
He won't be, but still, territory calls for Durham.
Chadwick to throw in here.
Almost collected by Durham, but it's found. Robinson of Northumbria, the captain, he's collected it and shunted up, but it's back in the hands of a purple shirt. Charlie Wilson for Durham. Short ball into the hands of Duffy. Duffy, a big right palm into the face of the Northumbria defence. Catterick trying to keep the ball alive with a little pop over the top. We'll introduce Tom Catterick properly, but the ball's still live for Durham here. Big, huge run from Hayes, Max Hayes, the number 3 for Durham. Fantastic conditions for rugby tonight. There's a gap through the middle, and it's Wilson. Wilson going on his own, fires Norman. Norman just brought to ground inside the Northumbria 22. Now into the hands of Clegg, the captain. Clegg taking it into contact. Working their way towards the far touchline, back through Hayes. The front row already carrying a lot for Durham. Looking for some space now out wide. Wilson gathered in the tackle. Pop out the back into the hands of Devine. Devine trying to put away his right winger. Can he go in the corner this time? He can't. Fumbled, but it's in, and Rawcliffe has scored. Straight out the book of Harlem Globetrotters down this near touchline, and Durham have opened the scoring here at Kingston Park.
Brilliant hands by Durham. They've come out all guns blazing in this first half. I don't think Northumbria were expecting that from a team who sit quite far down the table as it stands so far. But yeah, great try by Rawcliffe, and fully deserved.
With juggling like that, Tristan Rawcliffe should look to join the circus after he's finished university. Tom Catterick with his first shot at goal. Tom Catterick, of course, well, he'll be familiar to these posts and this ground. Former Newcastle Falcons professional. He retired from professional rugby earlier this year, citing injuries and a new direction required in his life. And he's found his way to Durham, acting as a player but also as a coach for their first 15. We've already seen his elusive skills, and he's whacked that one straight between the uprights. Early lead here for Durham. Not something we would have expected, perhaps, from Northumbria. Northumbria, of course, setting the standards in this Bucks Super Rugby 2017-2018 season. Off the left boot of Howarth. But that's found its way into touch. A bit of a hack and a bobble. So both teams showing a high tempo early on in this game. Luke Chadwick. Well, the hooker for Durham, thinking he was going to have a shot then, but the ball is in. Black shirt hands. Michael Newstead with his first line-out ball of the game, just inside the Durham 22 on the far touchline. Well collected by the captain, Robinson. Good counter shove from Durham, trying to put the ball into touch, but it's still in play. Northumbria recycling to the back of their maul. It's gone to ground now, though. They'll need a big carrier. Back into the hands of the captain, Robinson. Robinson, one of the Northumbria players associated with Newcastle Falcons. Rogers finding a man, or trying to find a man on the inside. It goes to nobody but a blade of grass. Christie still coming to this near touchline. Rogers with a long sweeping pass, trying to pick out Wakoki Koki. Hot stepper. We saw him play for England students earlier this year. He's got great pedigree, but through the middle into the number 7, Jenkinson. Jenkinson trying to go round the fullback. Gets tackled in front of the post, 5 metres out. There's still numbers over to the near side for Northumbria. They're trying to go, but they go to the far touchline. Chadwick into contact. There seems to be space all over this pitch. The referee, though, not very happy. He's called it back for a penalty, and he has sent Joe Duffy, the Durham number 6, to the bin. Well, did you spot that, Alec? What was that one for?
I think I was holding... well, they've gone quick, actually, with Wakokoki. And have they gone over? They haven't.
Recycled just under the posts, inches away. It looks as if that one has touched the post from our angle. Shame they can't come up here for the TMO. The referee spotted it, though. And a fantastic response from Northumbria. What a way to respond. Great bit of spot who that one was that got it down underneath that pile of black shirts.
It may have been the fly half, Joe Rogers. We'll have a look again here on the replay. No, it wouldn't have been Rogers.
We'll see if we can spot who comes up last from this one. Well,
hard to see from that angle.
It could have been any one of 3 players.
Good bit of knowledge, though, from these university boys that they don't actually have to go over the try line there. Just touch it down on the post, as you saw there.
Yeah, the foot of the posts counts as the try line. Successful conversion from Jake Rogers. We'll try and find out from our men on the ground who it was that got that one down. Some might say it was Ollie Robinson, the captain. He was standing over the ball, but there was multiple pairs of hands over that one. Neil Chivers, though, the referee, was not having that foul play from Joe Duffy, so he spends 10 minutes in the bin. We'll see him just after the first quarter again. Again, he's got a great eye, this referee. Crossing. So Catterick, will he go for the post here? He has done. Points mean prizes early on. Nice to keep the scoreboard ticking over, and that's what we like to see up in our commentary box. Tom Catterick, you'd expect, would have no issue with the distance here. Just taking the opportunity to clarify a few things with the referee, perhaps about that Joe Duffy sin binning. So a good tempo to start this fixture. Friday night's a little bit chilly, but the players are looking to bring some hot and spicy rugby to Kingston Park this evening.
Well, it's been a great start from both teams. No team has really taken control of this match, but will they here? Yes, that's Tom Catterick. And now they go ahead. That's his 52nd point of this season. Wasn't too hard of a kick for him, for a player of his calibre. Northumbria will be looking to. Well, Northumbria will be looking to get a try maybe with the sin bin in for Durham. Take advantage of that.
Well taken by the Durham left wing, Nathan Wyman. Second time we've heard his name in this game. Crashed up into contact, legs pumping hard by Kai Devine. In the side this week in place of Ethan Harbinson. Durham looking to go wide quickly here. Taken into contact though by Charlie Norman. Big crash by Jack Conter. This time though, Catterick looks to clear his lines though. Perhaps not the best tactical kick as it was well covered by Howarth. Howarth looking to go on his own, skimming past one. He's going to look to go all the way here. Offload to Christie. Christie needs some support. He's still going. Well, Koki with the ball in hand, just taken down 5 metres from the Durham try line. Still all go here from Northumbria. Solway into contact. Rogers looking to go wide into the hands of Masai. Masai going on his own down the right wing here, and Northumbria are in. Northumbria through Will Muir, their second score of the game, capitalising on that yellow card by Durham. But wow, that was silky smooth. We said Durham's first try was great. This one by Northumbria, maybe even slightly better. It went through almost every player's hands through the phases there, but what a great initial break by Rory Howarth. Look here, a bit of a fend, slipped through the tackle. Masai just putting his man with a lovely flat pass down the touchline. And Will Muir, a simple run in to dot down his first try of the game.
Great play by the Northumbria fly half as well. Rogers, he looked up, floated pass across to his inside centre, Massey. And yeah, brilliant try again for Northumbria.
And that all came from almost a hapless kick from Tom Catterick. There didn't really appear to be much on. He was midfield, no real options either way, but he kicked it towards the corner just outside the 22. And it was a great opportunity for Rory Howarth of Northumbria. He cut through that outside defence like a hot knife through butter. And it was some fantastic offloading really through all the players. Koki coming in off his wing, giving some support as well.
I think that's a lesson learned for Durham, not to give this backline for Northumbria any space today.
Yeah, this Northumbria back three, they've got some tall, leggy players, but they're powerful and they can run. Probably taking a leaf out of Johnny May's book. A lot of comments over the past 24 hours about how he's as fast as Usain Bolt.
Backwards, says the ref.
Yeah, not well collected off the kickoff. Interesting from Durham, going short. Crashed up though by Hayes. Hayes, a big man in the scrum, but also potent, carrying his fellow front row partner Conter this time with the carry. Catterick into the hands of Foles. Cries from the supporters that was crossing, but the referee ignores it. Still trying to go wide. Wilson here, Charlie Wilson, inside centre for Durham. Former England under-18, part of the Newcastle Falcons senior academy. He's played on this turf already this season as part of the warm-up games for their season in the Aviva Premiership. Red scrum hat there, Colin Markham. Markham still going, bundles his way into the Northumbria 22. Colin.
They got men out here.
Finding the ball towards Wilson. A live wire, this Jacob Colin. He's not letting the ball sit at the back of that ruck for any time more than it has to. Catterick trying to organise a pod. Finds Chadwick. Chadwick sent flying backwards by Jenkinson. Norman trying to skip through Masai's tackle, but he hits the ground. Conter again looking for contact. continuity of this Durham attack. They're just prepared to go any direction at any time, not necessarily using the full width of the pitch, as you so often hear teams talk about. Great defence from Northumbria, and that was the scrum half. James Christie causing havoc at the breakdown. A bit of afters here though. Purple and black shirts already getting in the mix. Well, we said this is the Northeast neighbours, and there's a lot of pride at stake between these two teams. Durham's Norman just taking a perch on the turf here. A little bit of a knee wrap needed, potentially just getting twisted maybe during that wriggle of a tackle.
Durham, they couldn't find a lot of space in that last attack. Something I did notice is that only one player is going into the breakdown for Northumbria. Maybe that is something they've worked on, maybe to fan out more rather than compete at the breakdown. It worked from there.
Well, we've seen Durham already on the Rugby Vertical Bucks Super Rugby live stream this year, and we know they can score tries. Probably the game of the season so far that wasn't on our stream, 50-53 against Exeter. And they're already looking to run away with this one. Jamie Ross into contact, still rolling through the Durham defence. A pick and go off the back of the ruck. Wakoki Koki in off his wing, acting scrum half. Picks out Rogers. Rogers into the hands of Masai.
High tackle,
yeah,
maybe.
Being held around the neck there, but don't think the referee thought anything of it. It's Dolan. No penalty to Northumbria. Get away, says Neil Chivers, the referee. And Rogers going to look to use some of this momentum, and the extra man pings this one into the corner.
I wouldn't be surprised if Northumbria go for a driving line out here, considering one of the Durham forwards is still in the sin bin. It looks like a two with a full 8-man line out.
Well taken by Bloodworth in the middle of that line out. Still going, Northumbria, but the good counter shove from Durham. Oh, that's a sloppy mistake to make by Jake Elwood. Hit the deck and just fell out of his paws. So, scrum to Durham, 10 metres out from their try line, 5 metres in from that far touchline, just in front of the common site here at Kingston Park. That London Red Bus vintage bar, not open tonight, probably a bit too chilly.
Surely once Cartwright gets the ball here, he'll be looking to boot it up for a line out around halfway. I don't think they'll be wanting to play from this deep in their own half.
Well, he's set 15 metres back from this scrum. It looked as if Colin was going to send that one up himself, but he's well scragged, and that's a great bit of defence. Great bit of defence from Northumbria. It looked as if it was Solway coming around off the scrum there. Absolute poacher wrapping up Jacob Collin, the Durham scrum half. So the boys in black opt for scrum down. Once again trying to utilise that extra man up front. Organisation needed here.
Seems as if Durham are going to have to bring one of their backs into the scrum, so maybe there'll be an extra man out wide. If not, a big advantage for Northumbria at the scrum.
Well, I am just trying to do the maths, working out the numbers, and it appears to me that Joe Duffy is back on for Durham. About 9.5 minutes on my watch, but referee knows best. So they are up to a full complement once again. Interesting to see if they use that short pop to bring in try scorer Will Muir, Northumbria. They won't have that option though. A huge scrum from the away side and a bit of sledging on the turf by the Durham front row. Catterick will be grateful. He didn't have to defend Ollie Robinson running straight down his throat. So he sends that one long, straight into touch. Pinging the ball all the way into the bar, I think.
It seemed like a bit of an illegal play there from the number 3 for Durham, Max Hayes. Or Jamie Ross, even.
Never entirely sure what happens at scrum time, but only the boys in the front 3 will really, truly know. Driving line out here from Durham, trying to walk their way ever closer to this halfway line, just on their own 10 metre, as you can see there. Ball appearing to be into the hands of Duffy. Duffy now finding Devine. Devine working his way into the black defence. A bit flat here from Durham, and it falls to Rawcliffe, the try scorer, who manages to get over the gain line and carries for 6 or 7 metres.
Great strength there.
Colin coming back towards this touchline. Catterick looking to go on his own, almost finding a loose shoulder. Half a yard gained. Back into contact by Foles. Colin still trying to go towards that far touch. Again, there's space. Finds into the hands of Wilson. Wilson, well tackled by Bordill of Northumbria. Again, Ben Foles of Durham in that red scrum hat, carrying hard. Solid defence from Northumbria, sending it back, but there's a gap, and it's Devine is going through. Devine showing some good gas here for the back row. He's well tackled by Howarth. Howarth, the Northumbria fullback, wrapping Devine up nicely. Wilson, bit of a flat pass there. They didn't know quite what was working. Duffy into contact, sent back slightly. Colin down the short side. Duffy once again into contact. Bit of organisation, some slow ball here. Hayes needing some support. Like a rampaging ball smashing through that solid Northumbria defence. Durham finding some gaps where there might otherwise not be. Wilson wrapped up nice and tightly there. Colin into the hands of the captain, Clegg. Clegg crashing the ball up. His second row partner, Markham, gets a few more yards this time. Trying to flood that open side of Durham. They come back on the short here. They have numbers over through the hands of Foles. Brought down in the 5 metre channel.
There's an overlap for Durham here on the left if Colin can look up and see it.
Just as an update, Conter, the Durham prop, is down injured, so they are currently playing with only 14 and using their numbers well as it stands. They have numbers towards this near touchline. Needing some organisation from Colin. Catterick putting the ball into the hands of Norman. Norman into contact. Flat ball into the hands of Markham. Markham, the second row, driving hard, trying to get everything out of his legs in contact. The referee, though, bringing it back for the penalty. Northumbria penalised for not rolling away. And a frantic 5 minutes of play there. Some solid defence from the back shirts, but what a break through the middle that was by Kai Devine.
It's not the first time in this game as well Devine has gone through. But I would like to go back to, again, not a lot of space there except for Devine's breakthrough. Not a lot of space for Durham. And again, Northumbria are only putting one man into the ruck. Maybe that's something their head of rugby, Dan Fern, had spoken to about them before this match, but it seems to be working for them, and I'm sure they'd rather concede 3 points than the full 7.
Well, we saw similar tactics on Wednesday night down at Hartpury, where Leeds weren't overcommitting at the ruck, but they managed to find themselves vulnerable a couple of times around the back of the ruck. Not quite yet the case for Northumbria, but successful penalty there for Tom Catterick as he nudges them back within a point of Northumbria. Rogers of Northumbria going to send this one long.
Coming up to the half-hour mark, Durham have really surprised me with how well they've been playing, considering they're standing in the table.
Yeah, Durham currently sitting 6th in the Bucks Super Rugby out of 9, only 10 points, played 5, won 2, lost 3. And we were speaking off camera with Northumbria's coach Darren Firm before the game, and as well with Alex Kie, the Durham coach. He was saying how any team can win in this league, and they were hoping it was going to fall to both of them tonight. Fumbled under the high ball, under the Friday night lights, but collected in the end by Rogers. Rogers over to Howarth, who puts a huge right foot on that, straight into the throat of Charlie Norman. He dinks over, bouncing high, back for Rogers to try and clear, puts a left boot on that one. A bit of aerial ping pong at the moment. Players letting it bounce even though they perhaps shouldn't. Howarth trying to skip through a few. Looks as if we've got a substitution on for Durham though. In the scrum hat, number 22 is Tom Lewis. Good tackle from him there, but the referee bringing it back for a knock on. So it will be scrum down. The referee just taking a moment to blow his whistle here. Didn't quite see the substitution or who it was for, but I think it may well be Tristan Rawcliffe, the Durham fullback try scorer. Appears he's come off for Tom Lewis. Tom Lewis in the scrum hat, just outside of your left shot there, but keep an eye out for him coming in off the left wing. Bit of an injury. Durham's Jacob Collin getting a bit of attention, but he's back on his feet. So Durham ball just inside the Northumbria half, inches away from that far touchline. Referee not happy with that scrum. Good to see that we've had pretty clean scrummaging so far in this game. I think we've also seen Harry Barron come on in the front row for Durham. Jack Conter had a bright start to this game in attack, defence and in the scrum. He's been replaced by Harry Barron. Big shove by Northumbria. Well collected though. Bringing Tom Lewis in off the left wing. He finds Norman. Norman into the paws of Howarth. Rory Howarth is going to go all the way here under the posts. Much like we saw at Hartpury the other night. Rory Howarth of Northumbria plucked that one out the air, and that was a gift from the rugby gods.
Big mistake there by outside centre for Northumbria, or for Durham even. Charlie Norman floated past, didn't see Howarth come in, and they've paid the price here with a try.
Just trying to play too much there were Durham.
Definitely.
They were caught out. Too much of a gap, but perfect defensive line almost from Northumbria. That wasn't a score that came from sloppy Durham errors. That was a Northumbrian defence which was nice and flat and causing them to get towards the outside channel. And for an outside back, happy days when that ball's landed in your breadbasket.
Yeah, one of the more easy tries I think he'll score this season. But Berg, the outside centre for Northumbria, should have done better.
Well, you wouldn't have expected him to miss that one, but Jake Rogers pulled that left of the near upright. So, scores 19 points for Northumbria, 13 for Durham. Durham just losing a little bit of their composure in the last 5 minutes. Not quite managing to utilise some of that intensity they brought earlier on in the first quarter. Sent high and short. Well taken though by the try scorer, Howarth. The fullback coming up short to collect that one. Well, Koki also looking for some action. He's wrapped up but still pumping his legs forward. The Seeds watch him in some space later on. Rogers just getting wrapped up by the hot Durham defence. Robinson, well, that was like basketball skills in one hand with the dummy. Kobe Bryant, eat your heart out. Durham though, they've had a bit of a think about how they want to defend, and it's hot at the moment, and that's proved successful. They will have a scrum inside the Northumbria half. So important times in this game. Durham, well, they'll be trying to look for at least a penalty before half time. Only 5 or 6 minutes left to play. You can see the Northumbria substitutions going for a bit of a warm-up. Maybe some changes from them at half time. Nice attacking platform in the centre of the pitch for Durham. Interesting swap around. Seen Charlie Norman come in at 12 now, so
Durham do have sorry Scott, Durham do have well, they did have 2 men out wide there compared to the Northumbria's 1, but that doesn't matter now. Full arm penalty to Durham.
Now if you're Durham, do you kick this? Keep it nice and tight, keep the scoreboard ticking over? Well,
apparently not.
Catterick and co opting for the jugular. That's sent out into the car park here. Would have wanted to get a little bit deeper on that. They're 15 metres out from the Northumbria try line.
Durham have been good in this type of position. Good driving line out. Maybe something they've worked on. But it doesn't look like they'll have the chance to use it. No, it's back now.
Fumble at the line out. Northumbria setting up their stronghold, the full width of this pitch. In the words of Gandalf, you shall not pass. A little bit of a boot gone missing. Can't quite work out who that is, but perhaps needs his mum to come and tie his shoelaces so it doesn't happen once again. Scrum to Northumbria. Ball in the hands of James Christie. Interested to see how they're going to line up here. Seems like Suva Masai, the Northumbria inside centre, is standing at first receiver. The Durham supporters are currently standing behind the posts of Northumbria, so they're giving a bit of lip. You might hear that through our speakers here. Big scrum for both teams here. Pressure on for Northumbria. Huge hit by Durham, walking this one back. Robinson struggling to keep his hands on that one. Wow, Muir trying to send this one away. He was on that like a live wire. Christie finding a forward pod, crashing up through the captain. Robinson still down the short side. There's space there for a box kick into the hole behind the Durham defensive line. Opted not to use it. Rogers in the pocket, looking to send this one long with his left boot, but it's straight down the throat of Tom Lewis, who spins that back inside to Wyman. Wyman with the white sleeves going on his own, finding a hole. Back inside to Markham, who fumbles. It's gone forward, and Northumbria will be back in possession. An exciting first half here of Bucks Super Rugby. Remember, you can get in on the action. Hashtag Bucks Super Rugby. This is round 8. This is Kingston Park. It's Northumbria versus Durham. Live stream powered by Rugby Vertical. Neil Chivers doing a great job in this game so far, Alec, of letting the ball flow.
Yeah, great job by him, and a great game by both teams there. I was just about to say that Northumbria are going to be they're going to be lucky going in half time in the lead, because Durham have really, in my opinion, controlled this game, but they've just been unlucky there with the interception. It looks like it's going to be a good second half.
Yeah, Northumbria could be further ahead, but the try scorer from that interception, Howarth, lofty pass over the top to Wakoki Koki, who puts the outside of his right foot onto the ball. Tom Lewis under pressure here through 3 black shirts. He manages to skip round all 3 of them. Inside pass like a Sonny Bill, but it's fumbled. Back in the hands of Christie. Christie through his front row of Elwood and Ross. The forwards having a go themselves now. Look at that. A huge dump by Charlie Norman on James Christie. Everybody wants a bit of the piece of this action. Devine into contact. Ball just slowing down slightly here. The referee coming back for offside by Durham. Opportunity here to go for the posts on the stroke of half time. Player down on the floor, injured. And that, well, a great bit of play there. Both teams really not afraid to play with the ball.
Open play by both sides there. Good bit of Sonny Bill offloads by the forward, so I think they'll be happy with that.
Let's hope he's watching in anticipation of New Zealand's game against Scotland tomorrow. I'm sure he could pick up a few things on running rugby from both of these two teams. And Northumbria opting to go for the posts. A chance to just nudge themselves further in front. Straight in front of the posts. 20 metres out. Jake Rogers. 1 out of 2 so far in this game. Off the tee. Strikes that one cleanly. And that puts Northumbria 22 points up to Durham's 13 at half time. A fantastic game of rugby so far. Both teams not afraid to play it, and that last passage of play perhaps the most insightful towards the spirit in which this match has been played so far. It's Bucks Super Rugby round 8. That second game of the week here on this Rugby Vertical live stream. Both sets of backs not afraid to run with it. Temperature just dropping here So the players will be delighted to get inside for a bit of warmth. Get out the old oranges.
Tom Catterick with a problem, looks like, going into half time. Just coming onto our screens now.
Hobbling away, isn't he? Doesn't look too happy. Yeah, it doesn't look as if he's going to be able to continue. Let's take a look at the highlights. Early breakdown, this right touchline, back inside by Hardman. Hardman thought he was going to go in just a few moments before that, but he plucked out Tristan Rawcliffe, who managed to dot over the line. Catterick showing his class of a right boot here, sending this one straight between the sticks. An immediate response though after the yellow card for Joe Duffy by Northumbria. Still don't know who managed to get that one out, do we? But dotted down on the black post there. Good knowledge by the young players. Straight through the sticks by Jake Rogers. Another attempt at goal for Tom Catterick. 8 points for him in this first half. Sweetly struck. And look at this. The outside pass by Jake Rogers, finding Massey. Massey putting away his right wing, Will Muir. Easy canter in for him, but some quick ball and some good handling by the backs.
They're going to miss this man, Durham, if he doesn't come out of the change rooms for the second half. He's been their talisman so far.
Great communicator. You can see him marshalling everybody around the pitch, can't you? Yeah, Catterick trying to put his backs alight, but it wasn't the Durham backs that profited. Rory Howarth reading that one like a child's book. Opportunity here just to convert that one. For Jake Rogers, not successful. And here at the stroke of half time, the final play. Jake Rogers getting his third successful boot off the tee in that first half. Scores at half time here at Kingston Park. Northumbria 22, Durham University 13.
Possibly a flattering scoreline there to Northumbria. I think Durham had more possession, more chances, and if it wasn't for that interception, then this game might have been a little bit different going into half time.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Durham respond. They've lost a couple of players. Charlie Wilson's gone off. They've had to bring on Tom Lewis. Tom Lewis, though, at the end of that first half, right on his try line, more than comfortable to run it. So it's not like they're substituting with lesser players. But Charlie Wilson at 12, he's got great experience with the England under academies and England under 18, so he will be missed. And if they've lost Tom Catterick, that's two players influential in their back line at 10 and 12 that they won't have in the second half. So fingers crossed Tom Catterick can put a bit of the magic sponge on it and we'll see him in the second half. But for Northumbria, anybody in particular that you were very impressed with? Because we've seen some good plays from their captain, leadership up front by Ollie Robinson.
I got to say Howarth at full back for Northumbria with the try there in the second half of that first half.
He's been a live wire, hasn't he? More than happy. And when they've booted it down his channel, he's cleaned it up nicely, put a few kicks for clearance as well as running with the ball in hand.
Yeah, maybe they won't be looking. Maybe they'll be looking to get less terror to him, make sure that it does go out and not into the hands of Howarth in the second half, because we've seen what he can do, with that try.
Well, we've mentioned the Northumbria captain, Oliver Robinson, so let's see what he had to say back at the Bucks Super Rugby 2017-2018 launch back in Twickenham in September.
We're going to raise our expectation level. I think last year finishing 6th was probably realistic.
Right.
I think beforehand we were sort of setting ourselves a target of finishing 4th, but realistically 6th was probably a fair sort of borderline where we were last year. But this year we're really looking to push on. We've got new faces coming in, and we've got a few of them, so it's just going to add to competition, more depth, which is ultimately what you really need.
Bucks Super Rugby probably surprised a few people last year. Like, I knew it was going to be competitive and I knew it was going to be good, and now everybody knows what it's about and it's going to be better and better. So it's a cracking league, like you say. The clubs, Premiership clubs, are buying into it. Got links all over the place, and it's just exciting. It is an exciting place to be as a coach, but as players, it's a no-brainer really.
It's what we want as players. For me, I've never played for an England side before, and I was lucky enough to be picked up last year and play for England students. So for me, that was massive, and that wouldn't have happened obviously without playing at Bucks Super Rugby. So you're seeing a lot more players go into the professional setup, and that's my aspirations for the future. We really want to push on this year. There was parts of last year we were happy, but on the whole, we're really looking to get into that top 4, and just looking forward to the start really.
Great to hear Oliver Robinson's thoughts on the season. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with his team going in 9 points in front at half-time. Alec, who do you think out of the two coaches, Alex Kie for Durham and Darren Fern, who we obviously spoke to before the game for Northumbria, which one of those two is going to be the happiest at half-time?
It's going to have to be Darren Fern as they've gone in the lead, but in terms of overall play, I'd go with Alex Kie, the Durham coach, because they've really tried to play. They've just tried to play rugby, and that's what we want to see here in the commentary position.
It's been a real pure example of rugby. Both sides more than happy to play for it. And how much does the artificial pitch here at Kingston Park help that style of play? Because we saw last week at Leeds and perhaps somewhat at Hartpury on Wednesday that the natural turf can be quite sticky at this time of year, but here at Kingston Park they don't have that conundrum. They can just play any time of year, all year round.
Yeah, it's a great facility here at Kingston Park actually, with the home of the Newcastle Falcons, and yeah, the artificial turf, it will help in terms of probably less handling errors even. The ball's not going to be muddy, and it's just a great turf.
So we mentioned that Durham have won 11 out of the last 12 fixtures between these two teams, and last season they picked up 2 wins. Back in February of this year they won 15-10 and 30-17 back in December of last year. So at the moment, all to play for in this Bucks Super Rugby fixture here at Kingston Park. Good to see supporters of both teams turning out, a few chilly students from what I can see, but no doubt they'll be sinking a few warm beverages, or maybe beverages that will warm them up in that bar. An interesting stat for you from the Bucks chief rugby statistician Simon Cruz. He's telling me that Northumbria have averaged twice as many points per game as Durham have this season. So a little insight there as to why they're near the top of the table and have been the league leaders for quite a long period of this season so far.
Northumbria have averaged 6 tries, or just over 6 tries in their 3 home matches this season. So maybe the second half we will see a few more tries. Not that we haven't seen them in the first half. It's been a brilliant first half. And maybe Durham will look to be a bit more clinical, and hopefully it'll become a bit of a tighter contest.
Links with Newcastle Falcons clearly benefiting both of these two Northumbria University incidentally used to own this facility for a couple of years. They sold it back to Newcastle Falcons in 2008. I was reading plans just a few weeks ago that The Falcons are looking to expand this ground by another 1,500 seats, taking it up to almost 12,000.
It is great for these university boys to be playing in such a big stadium, probably bigger than they're used to playing in, and it's bringing out the best in them.
Northumbria, the home side, first team out on the pitch for the second half. Durham needing to defrost their fingers and toes for a few moments more. Remember, drop us a tweet, #BucksSuperRugby. Let us know your favourite try of the first half.
I think this local derby's bringing out the best in Durham. Obviously they haven't had the best start to the season compared to Northumbria, who are unbeaten at home and who are so far going to remain unbeaten at home. But as I predicted in the start, just before kick-off, Northumbria are ahead. If they will stay ahead, though, is another thing.
Just beginning to question whether Durham had forgotten there is a second half to play, but here they come, led out by their captain, Justin Clegg. Justin Clegg, the enforcer in that second row. Apologies if you can hear some obscenities from both players, both sets of players as they're running out for this second half, but huge pride from these universities. Not very often they get to have a short journey to play.
You've got to look back to the 1st of February, if I'm right, for the last time these two played against each other. And well, that was a Durham win for 15 points to 10.
And it has appeared that Tom Catterick has returned to the field after limping off at the end of that first half. So let's see if they go short and straight once again. The referee Neil Chivers happy. Both teams and captains are happy, and they do the restart well, but it's taken by Rory Howarth, the try scorer for Northumbria. Christie coming to the near touchline, lofted pass over the top into the hands of try scorer Muir. Muir going on his own, puts it on the left foot. Can he go round the back here? It could be a second score for Will Muir at the start of this second half. Will Muir collects, he's over the line. Has he managed to get it down? The referee says it's held up well. Will Muir, almost a fantastic solo score within 30 seconds of this second half. But Durham really caught napping, Alec.
All guns blazing in the second half, early start. But
well, they have awarded the try. The referee consulting with the assistant referee on our near touchline, Mick Harris. And look at this, puts it onto his left foot, manages to keep the ball in play. 1 touch, 2 touch, manages to collect it and bounces over the try line. You see all the Durham players diving on top there, hoping that nobody could see that one. But what a start to this second half. Will Muir with his second try of the game. Jake Rogers, an opportunity to further extend their lead.
great skill there by Muir. You could see the back three of Durham coming across. He knows that if he kicks the ball in play, and he can actually go actually off the pitch, return back on as long as the ball is still on. Great football across the floor, diving over, nothing that the back three for Durham could do.
So a fantastic game, we said, had been played in the first half and started as they mean to go on. Durham this time sending it slightly longer, but once again collected by the fullback Rory Howarth. He's enigmatic under the high ball, a real enforcer, but popped through, and they're going again here through the hooker. He's found Wakoki Koki being sat into touch. What a run that was by Michael Newstead, picking a hole in this Durham defence, and we saw it in the first half that Durham were finding these gaps, but tables have turned. The ball in Northumbrian hands, looking majestic at the moment.
Cries for a forward pass there by Northumbria, not seen by the ref. Michael Newstead runs through. He's actually scored 5 tries this season. So
Durham with the put in at the scrum. Through Jacob Collin. That one not well supported, so they will have to reset. Interesting that Durham haven't played for 2 weeks either. Of course, there's 9 teams in this Bucks Super Rugby League, so not everybody can play every week. Incidentally, this week Bath have had a week off, so Northumbria picking up where they left off 2 weeks ago, winning 26-12 down at Hartbury, bringing that kind of form home to Kingston Park this week.
and that could be seen as a positive and a negative thing for Northumbria, in that they would have had time to work on stuff on the training ground, but then you can look at it and think they haven't played for 2 weeks, they may be a bit rusty, and maybe that's what they were in the first half.
Tom Lewis now down this near touchline, running around. Howarth doesn't get away from the tackle, fumbled out the back or the side of the ruck there, and it's hoofed into touch. So I think that came off a Northumbria foot, and Durham will have the ball at the line out on halfway. Yeah, you'd expect that Northumbria, with a week off, maybe a few of the players in and around the squad will have been representing their second team last week. Catterick looked injured at the end of that first half there, but more than happy to carry into contact. Ex-professional for Newcastle Falcons, back home this week. Norman finding the inside ball. Cheers from the Northumbria fans in the stand. Noise echoing around Kingston Park. Cleared by Catterick, collected by Howarth. The referee bringing it back though, and it appears Charlie Norman just taking a knee there. He was given a hard shoulder whilst offloading back inside, so he's taking a second to compose himself. Durham have the penalty. Another opportunity for them to gain some territory in this second half. They've been pinned back in their own half for the last 5 or 6 minutes, and players just taking an opportunity to get some water. But what can Durham do in the next few minutes to try and compose themselves and get them back into this half, Alec?
Well, they haven't had much ball in this second half. It's a completely different half to the first, where they did have most of the possession. It's going to start with Catterick trying to get a good position for them for a line out. They have been good in line out, or they were in the first half anyway. Get a good platform, give it out to the backs, and they really do need to start getting some points on that board. Northumbria creeping away with this a bit.
Yeah, Durham. Question for them whether or not they try and play a bit more tactically, put boot to ball. But you suspect that they will stick to their roots and keep this one active, keep it live. So still 35 minutes left to play here. Bit of a break in play while replacement prop forward Diogo Ferreira on the floor there, just receiving some treatment to his right ankle. We've already seen Jack Conter go off in the first half, so he'll be getting back to his feet, resuming position at the front of the scrum. Catterick though will no doubt clear their lines and opt for a deep kick into Northumbria territory.
Seems as if Darren Fern, the the head of rugby for Northumbria, is really, he may have given them a talking to in that change room during half time. And he is a former professional rugby player, and with that sort of experience, it's going to be great for these university boys in growing as rugby players for the future.
Yeah, Durham, they're no strangers to the top levels of this competition. They finished 4th in Bucks Super Rugby last year, so they have quality, and that's plucked out the air by captain Justin Clegg. Although the referee, well, it's scrum down, not straight at the line out, was it, Alec? Didn't quite catch that one.
Yeah, either it wasn't straight or it was a knock on Scott. But either way, it's a scrum here. Good position for Northumbria.
James Christie, scrum half for Northumbria, scored a hat-trick in round 5 versus Bath. Marshalling his flying backs and dominant forwards so far in this game, but a good scrum from Northumbria. Durham penalised for wheeling. So Jake Rogers now needs to put some weight behind this one. And they'll have a line out 35 metres out from the Durham try line. Interesting that Northumbria have put Josh Bragman not in the side today there. Fly half, he's currently 2nd in the Bucks point scoring tables.
Misplaced pass there by Northumbria.
Jake Rogers though marshalling his team around and having a fantastic game today on and off the tee. Taken into contact though by fullback Rory Howarth.
In from the side there, it seems the Northumbria forwards a bit too eager to get to that ball. Durham penalty.
So the ball will fall to Catterick to try and send this one long, and long it must go to keep them in touch of this game. Bucks Super Rugby here on the Rugby Vertical live stream. Hello to everyone watching on Unilad Sport. Remember, drop us a tweet, hashtag Bucks Super Rugby. Let us know who you're rooting for today. Cheers from Durham supporters as they prepare for their side's line out. 10 metres out, down in the corner. Harry Barron with the line out, plucks out Markham in the Rudd scrum hat. Driving line out now, back into the hands of Barron. Huge shove needed. Northumbria just taking the edge out of this one. Barron looks as if he's going to keep going. They do. Tackled by Jenkinson. Although Durham are still working this one forward. It's going to be close to the line. Is it over? The referee, well, didn't see that one coming. And neither did the man in question. That's a yellow card for number 21, Elliot Manley, rather than Jonathan Burden. My apologies. And Northumbria are down to 14 men.
It's not what they want, not what they wanted at all. It seems as if they were trying to slow the ball down there, stop the momentum Durham had, and now they find themselves 5 yards in front of their own try line with a man down.
Well, it looked to me as if Durham had already got that over the line, but a fumble at the line out from Markham. The referee saying that was knocked forward. So a chance for Northumbria to breathe and clear their lines. Need to get some weight behind this scrum.
We spoke about Durham at half time, saying that they need to be a bit more clinical. That's where they need to be more clinical. They weren't clinical there, and that's where they're losing out at the moment. They're getting into positions with the boot of Catterick there. It was a brilliant kick, but the forwards letting them down, letting the backs down.
Perhaps should have looked to go to the front, Durham, keep it safe.
Possibly, yes, and to get a drive over Northumbria are one player down, so that would have been maybe the more obvious route.
So, Christie with the put in at the scrum. Rogers in the dead ball area.
They'll be trying to get this to Howarth if they can, but a big drive over. Oh, and so close by Northumbria, by Durham even.
Can you believe that? White line fever for Durham, but it's back in the hands of Tom Lewis. Pickpocketed by Muir, sent long, and it's being chased. Chased hard as well, but it's collected by Nathan Wyman. Wyman trying to take on a second row here. He can't find any space. Well tackled by Bloodworth. Taking the sting out of Nathan Wyman there. Durham trying to set up a platform so they can clear their lines. It's going to be sent up. And up it goes by Jacob Collin. Well plucked out the air by trouble try scorer Will Muir. Number 18 on, Yuri Fantini for Northumbria. He's yomping down the centre field. Christie trying to find a gap, and he's found Newstead into the corner, but it's taken by Rory Hardman of Durham. Well, both sides there with errors, but it started with Durham stealing ball at the scrum that was Northumbria's put in, and as you thought they were almost on the line, knocked forward and lost in contact.
Yeah, Benjamin Fowles, he obviously I don't think he was expecting to be having the ball at the back of the scrum there, considering it was Northumbria's ball, but he did have it momentarily before knocking it on as he was going for the try.
It was almost as if the ball plucked up in front of him and he wasn't expecting it at all. He was just focusing on driving hard to try and put pressure on that Northumbria pack.
It just shows how much one mistake can change a game. We're on the complete opposite end of the pitch here.
So Northumbria not yet being punished by Durham. Jonathan Burden in the sin bin, number 21. He'd been on minutes, if anything. Better platform, but Durham sending the boys in black backwards. Penalty for them. Catterick potentially looking to go quick, but opting for the territory.
Brilliant.
Need more consistency at the line out from here, though.
Yeah, they haven't been great in this line out the second half compared to the scrum where they've been really dominant. The tight five have they've bossed the front of that scrum, and if they can turn that into the line outs as well, then we may be looking at a different game here. But at the moment, they have nothing. They can't. They have no platform to work off. And let's see if just about plucked out of the air there.
Great offloading here by the Durham pack. Rolling down the field here. Catterick finding the ball out wide into the hands of Tom Lewis. Tom Lewis coming back inside, but he's also going backwards. He's well tackled by Lewis Berg. Hot defence from Lewis Berg, proving successful there. Colin now coming back with Catterick, grubbered through by Catterick to nobody, and it's collected by Will Muir. Will Muir puts a left boot into space over the top of Hardman. Hardman having to chase back, and he collects well, but he's on his own, needs some support. Well cleared out by the Durham forwards, though they got back quickly. Both sets of defences working hard under pressure. Northumbria putting some big hits in. So Durham once again back inside their own half. Going to have to work exceptionally hard for some territory here. Norman clearing out to Northumbria captain Ollie Robinson, taken into contact by the captain Justin Clegg.
Overlap on the far side, if they could have got there, unfortunately not.
Fumbled in contact by Tom Lewis. Well, Durham now, as the temperature starts to drop, so does their ability to hold on to this ball. Errors just creeping into their game.
And that's going to lead to frustration, which is going to lead to further penalties for Northumbria. Not great here by Durham. They're doing the exact opposite, actually, of what they should be. They should be trying to keep ball in hand. They should be trying to set platforms for themselves to work off and try to close that margin on the scoreline. They haven't been doing that, though. Not sure if the cold weather will have is affecting their handling.
Interesting that at the moment Northumbria are still down to 14 men, so they're playing above and beyond here, keeping Durham at bay in this second half.
If Durham really want to get back into this match, then they really do need to get at least a try while they have that one-man advantage.
Well, they had a gift of a try chance, but another fumbling hand error not helping their chances in this game. James Christie at scrum half for Northumbria. You suspect here he'll be going backwards. The Northumbria scrum struggling against this solid purple pack. Robinson doing well to clear that out, showing his quality. James Christie going on his own down the right wing here into the hands of Dominic Warby. Warby putting some pace on that ball, back into the hands of Howarth, the try scorer. He's shifted to fly half, so a difference of intensity for Northumbria, but it's been stolen. And Kai Devine had some great runs in the first half, a bit quieter in the second. Durham looking for some space, trying to run it from inside their own half. They have a penalty. Northumbria will be marched back 10. But another man down injured on the pitch here. Bit of afters as well.
Always to be expected in local derby, Scott.
They just can't help themselves, can they? When they're being egged on by some very vocal supporters. They just can't help it. Both captains just having a quiet word with our referee Neil Chivers. Who are now relaying the message. So just under 60 minutes played here at Kingston Park. Northumbria University lead in this Bucks Super Rugby game, 29 points to Durham's 13. Durham started the brightest in the first half, but it is Northumbria who got out like a lightning bolt in the second.
The ref may have had a word with two captains there about their discipline off the ball, and maybe the next time he sees that he's gonna show another yellow card, and wouldn't be surprised, as he already has shown two today. He's not nervous about showing them.
Northumbria still down to 14 men. It's an opportunity here for Durham to exploit, but it's well contested and well stolen at the line out. Tapped back by George Bordill of Northumbria.
Alex Kay, the Durham coach, is going to be kicking himself here. They have just no platform to work off, and without the ball, they won't be able to score tries, and that's what they need at this moment in time.
Chance to counter-attack here. Norman with the outside break. He's got Tom Lewis, but Norman goes on his own, crashing into contact. Well cleared out by the boys in purple, still going down this short side. Into the hands of Markham. Wrapped up, looks to be slightly high, but the referee's okay with it. Catterick, a flat pass across the front into the hands of Justin Clegg, the captain. Colin still looking for some quick ball. Norman back over the other side of the pitch now. He's well tackled. Markham again. Consistent play now by Durham, opening up some space, building up some tempo, the intensity increasing, but a wayward pass cutting them in their tracks. A chance for Wyman to find some space, but he's brought down in the middle of the field just inside the Northumbria 10-metre line.
Big overlap here near side. If Jacob Collin, the scrum half, can see it, he can't.
So they go down the short side. Hardman. Swinging tackle. Northumbria haven't got anyone there, so it's plucked by Jake Elwood. Elwood's going. Can he go into the corner? He's being chased down. Is he going to get there? Just short. A great cover tackle by Nathan Wyman. Northumbria needing to clear this one out. It's a penalty to them. Catterick having a bit of a scuffle here, and it's all kicking off down in that far corner of Kingston Park.
Frustration of both teams coming out here, and it's not what we want to see. It does seem like only...
And the man who was rampaging down that far touchline and being cheered on by the Northumbria faithful, just receiving some treatment. It looked as if he was going to reach out with one arm and pluck that one down over the try line, but wow, what a run that was. And Northumbria sloppy again from them. They just didn't really secure possession, and it was plucked out by Jake Elwood. Jake Elwood having a fantastic game so far, and what a 50-metre run, in excess of almost there.
You don't see that a lot from the props. That would have been something for the history books if he could have gone over, but he didn't, and thankfully for Durham, they're still in this match.
A penalty to Northumbria awaits. The referee just having a word with the Durham coach Alex Kie there. Tempers flying high. Grateful that our assistant referee on that far side didn't get caught up in the middle of that confrontation between the two sides. Neil Chivers just checking his assistant is all right, but these referees and assistant referees pack a mean punch themselves. I assure you, they work exceptionally hard to get to this level. Fitness that would no doubt rival some of the best athletes on this pitch. But Jake Elwood, well, that's one for the show reel. We've seen some fantastic running rugby in this game, but a run like that, well, it almost eclipses all of them. Almost.
So close, but yet so far for Northumbria.
60 minutes played here at Kingston Park. Northumbria still lead 29-13. Durham chasing, not managing to convert some of their territory and possession. Errors slipping into their game, and as you mentioned less than 10 minutes ago, Alec, as the errors increase, so do the tempers, and we saw that in that bottom corner.
Yeah, it did boil over there in the far side. Not sure the referee saw who started it, because if he did, we would have seen another yellow card.
And we spoke to Darren Fern before the game. They said they have a structure, and their structure is about playing the right things in the right areas and playing from everywhere almost. Interesting stat for you. Northumbria have scored 36 tries already this season. And in all of last season's Bucks Super Rugby, they scored 33. So that strategy paying dividends this season.
And maybe Durham should take a leaf out of Northumbria's book. Maybe as to be honest, they haven't had much structure in this game, and that's where they're lacking at the moment.
They have looked dangerous though at times, particularly in that first half. Perhaps they should have come out or come in at the break in the lead, but just not managing to cement their best plays into scores and points. Good shove from them. The Durham pack has been ferocious in this game, but it is Northumbria walking this one forward. They're brought to ground 2 metres away from this Durham try line. Penalty to Northumbria. They won't go quickly, they'll scrum again. Perhaps a penalty try beckoning here.
Tom Cartrick found himself in the middle of all of that, not exactly where you want your fly half to be. They've gone for the corner here.
Line out once again, Northumbria wanting to stay away from this powerful and monstrous Durham forward pack. They've hit hard in every scrum so far this game. It's been a clean contest and they've been on top. Well taken at the line out by George Bordill. Robinson, the captain, going on his own, needs some support. Doesn't really get any more metres out of that one. Crossfield kick. Is he going to go over? They put it on a sixpence. And Dominic Warby dives over in the corner. Well, Jonathan Burden, number 21, we saw him get a yellow card within minutes of him coming on the field. But that then was an exemplar piece of footballing skill.
Yeah,
sent into the air and plucked out by Dominic Warby.
Yeah, they looked up there, the fly half Northumbria. He saw that Warby was out wide. Brilliant kick across field into the hands, and Northumbria really are taking this lead now.
They're really turning the screw, digging the knife deep. Playing the game the way they do best. Chance here for Jonathan Burden to convert and put Northumbria further into the lead.
He's just going through his pre-kick routine here.
And it did not do anything. Perhaps needs to go back to the dance studio and revise that one. 34-13 here at Kingston Park. Friday night lights for Bucks Super Rugby Round 8. Northumbria lead against Durham. Big grudge match between these two north-east sides.
Northumbria have really pulled away in the second half, and Durham really do need to try to get a try in sooner rather than later if they still have ambitions of winning this game.
Well, the referee bringing that one back. High tackle by Durham. And he's marching them 10 metres further back for the back chat. You could hear it from row Z of the stand here at Kingston Park. So Jonathan Burden, we've seen he's great kicking from the hand. He's sending this one deep, not quite in touch. Well taken by Tom Lewis. Doesn't walk out of his 22, but he clears it. Time to get a breather and reassess for Durham. So Northumbria do have the bonus point. Dominic Warby with the most recent try. Rory Howarth with 1, the fullback. Will Muir with 2. A try by someone we're still not sure, but it was dotted down at the post. We'll call it the post try. And that will mean Northumbria go top once again. of the Bucks Super Rugby table. They'll come away with a full 5 points tonight, we expect. Less than 15 minutes left to play. Ball bundling through the hands, but it finds its way to Lewis Berg. Lewis Berg down that far touchline. Christie not quite accurate enough with his pass, so he's collected by Durham. He's tried to strike an attack of their own. Tom Catterick with the ball in hand. Collins trying to find Diogo Ferreira. Nice and deep for Durham, into the hands of Wyman, who receives a big hit from Matthew Jenkinson of Northumbria. Cheers from the stand.
Ripped in the tackle there. Knock on, scrum down, Northumbria ball. Exactly what they want in this game. They want to keep the ball out of the Durham hands, meaning Durham, they can't try to get back into this game. Substitutions have been sent on here.
Yeah, Joe Duffy and Jacob Collin coming off. Interesting to see who has come on. Ethan Harbinson.
Less than 13 minutes left in this match, and Durham, they really do need to try now. Maybe that's why Alex Kay, as the coach for Durham, has just sent on the substitutions, try to inject a bit of pace into this team, because they're lacking any sort of rhythm at the moment, and they really do need to get that try.
Yeah, still a chance, a slim chance for Durham to get a losing bonus point. Last Wednesday up at West Park, Leeds Beckett, we said they were too far out with 5 or 6 minutes left to play to get a bonus point, but they scored 2 tries in the last 5 minutes to come away with a point from that game. So still all to play for Durham. Huge scrum from them, taken by Akira Tekanaka. Looking to set his backs alight. Now into the Northumbria half. Charlie Wilson going on his own, trying to find a hole. Puts his head down and drives hard. Held up by Northumbria defence. They're not going to let him out. And that's some tactical defending. Good nous from the Northumbria defensive line. And they will have the scrum just in front of us here, inside their own half, 20 metres in from this near touchline.
The scrum has been Durham's only friend really in this match. Nothing really else has been going for them. That has been a positive for them to take into next week's game.
They haven't managed to use this set piece though to their advantage, and they've had good success at the scrum, just as we saw at the previous scrum to this. They managed to win it on the head, but they've not managed to use this strong scrum to their advantage. I'm sure they'll be looking at the replay of this game, things to work on for them, but it has been a shining light of their game. Just not consistent enough throughout the 70 minutes played here. Let's see what Northumbria do with it here. Well picked up by Robinson, trying to fend off the challenge of Durham. I think that's the first box kick we've seen in this game for James Christie. It's collected by Wyman. Wyman going on his own, trying to skip through a challenge. Offload into the hands of Harbinson. Harbinson finding Wilson. Wilson went off earlier in this game, but he's back on now. Catterick with a grubber down that far touchline. It looks as if it's just going to roll out, but they will have a chance to apply some pressure at the line out.
Much better by Durham. They took the initiative there, but too little too late, I think, for any comeback here. They will be looking, maybe, as you said, it's got a slim chance for that losing bonus point. Maybe they'll be looking to steal this line out and maybe get a try and work from there.
Well, they have a solid set piece, and they've got some big line out jumpers in the form of Colin Markham and captain Justin Clegg. So a chance to steal it, all to play for. No reason not to go for it for Durham. But that period of play there, a few phases, looking much better from Durham. More like what we saw of them in the first half. Well clutched out of the air by George Bordill for Northumbria. Talking about the Durham line-out jumpers, he's been fantastic at 12 foot or so in the air today. Christie finding Burden. Burden sending that one into the stand, almost behind the bar.
Northumbria just want to keep Durham pinned back now, as far away from the Northumbria try line as is possible. Evidently there by that long range kick, out of danger.
Worth mentioning, the next games these two teams will play, they both feature next week. Northumbria at home here at Kingston Park against Leeds Beckett on Wednesday, and Durham go down to Nottingham. They play Nottingham Trent University at Lady Bay on Friday night, another Friday night game for them, so 7-day turnaround. They'll be looking to pick up their third win of the season against the boys in pink. But the great thing about this Bucks Super Rugby League, it's so competitive. Any team can win at any time. We've already seen that so often this year. Teams you wouldn't necessarily have expected to win coming away with bonus points and plenty of pride. Attacking option here for Durham. Great line out ball into the hands of Devine. Quick ball again from the back of the ruck. Hanley into contact. Northumbria once again trying to hold that one up. But the ball's still free for Durham. Crashed up. A great charging run by Joe Burdish. Joe Burdish still going here, supported well by his forward pack. Takanaka looking for some quick ball at scrum half. He finds the captain, Clegg. Clegg barging through a shoulder or two. Well, that was a bit of a strange phase there. Ball passed back off the foot, caught by a Durham player. Looks like something out of the 18-yard box on a football pitch. So Northumbria with a chance to clear their lines off the floodlight.
Again though, Durham they get in the territory now in this second half of this second half. But again, just sloppy play. There we saw a pass to the feet, and I don't know how they're going to score from that.
Perhaps an argument for Durham to keep the ball in close quarters and just use their forwards with some zeros and ones from the back of their rucks, because they're so dominant in the scrum. Surely that power and strength would be evident around the tight areas of the rucks.
That would be something maybe they look for next week. I think this game is a bit late for them now to start changing things, because Northumbria have just been dominant, especially in the second half. They are unbeaten at home. They will remain unbeaten at home, and rightfully so.
Well, there has been some good periods of play for Durham. That Tristan Rawcliffe try in the first half, we'll see that again at the end of the game, so positives to be had for them. He suffered with a few injuries as well. Let's see the might of this purple scrum. Well won by Northumbria, sent high, a bit of a Gary Owen, collected by Wyman. Going sideways and backwards is Ethan Harbinson, needing some support. Catterick into the hands of the captain, well tackled by Suva Masai.
It's something we've seen all game for Northumbria. We'll see it here again. Only one man, only the tackle is actually going into the ruck, which leaves all the players out wide, meaning not a lot of space for Durham to attack into.
We did see, despite that strong Northumbria defence in the first half, that Durham were still managing to pluck out the holes in the middle of the field when they were patient and kept it through the phases. Sniffing an opportunity here, they commit more Northumbria, but a bit of an injury, and the referee's called a halt to play here. I think that looks like Tom Catterick in some pain. He really puts himself about on the pitch, does the fly half. He seems in agony. Let's hope he's all right. Justin Clegg, the captain, off camera, just having a word with his players. Commitment, I'm sure, will be the word he's using through to the final minute of this game. A chilly one here, temperature now feeling like it's -20. I know the crew are looking for a hot water bottle or a hot chocolate, but the action on the pitch has been hot this evening. Alec, perhaps a time for you to consider a man of the match from both teams. You don't need to give me your answer right away, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, some great tries in this game. Will Muir, the right wing for Northumbria, with a brace, an individual piece of brilliance out of nowhere at the start of the second half. Rory Howarth, well, he was and has been a player throughout the full 80 minutes who's really challenged that Durham defence, but for Durham, their second row of Markham and Clegg really marshalling. Disappointing though, and such a shame to see a player of Tom Catterick's ability in pain at the moment. He looks in real discomfort. I think they might be getting the stretcher to help him off. He limped off at half time but came back out wanting to give his all clearly to this Durham side, and fingers crossed he's okay. Good to see his knee moving there. Not long left to play in this game.
It's not a sight you want to see in rugby, Scott. He does look in some discomfort. He's definitely going to have to go off. Maybe a bit too eager coming back on in that second half, because as we saw, maybe possibly it was off camera, but he was down at the end of that first half. Maybe this is the same injury that's come back to haunt him from that first half.
I'm sure he'll feel all right once he's had a drink or two in the clubhouse afterwards. By all accounts, they do some fantastic hot dogs behind the bar. Next week on this Bucks Super Rugby live stream powered by Rugby Vertical, we head down to Loughborough. A huge game in prospect there on their Rubber Crumb pitch. There'll be a lot of people out to watch that one. They take on Exeter. Exeter, for the next 5 minutes at least, top of the Bucks Super Rugby table. Hopefully the weather's a little bit more generous, but we could see another great game of running rugby. Shame to see Tom Catterick limp off there. We wish him all the best. He's had a great game tonight. A real leader in this Durham side. But the ball falls to Akira Takanaka. He will put in at the scrum. Minutes left to play here. Josh Bragman, number 20, he's on the field. Durham still driving unbelievably hard. In the scrum. The Durham backs still getting behind their forward pack here. Cheering them on till the very end. And Alec, man of the match from both teams.
From both teams.
Well, who's your number one man of the match?
I'm going to have to give my man of the match for this game to Will Muir, the number 14 for Northumbria. He's had 2 tries in this match. Tries win you games, as seen by the scoreline here. Individual magnificence at the start of the second half, and that started the ball rolling for Northumbria's dominance. He's also been good under the high ball today. He's linked up with Howarth well, who also bagged himself a try. So yeah, Will Muir is my man of the match for this Bucks Super Rugby match.
And aside from Northumbria, anyone from Durham that's been impressive despite this struggle for them in the second half?
Justin Clegg, their captain, has been good. He's taken the ball up the middle more than once.
Harbinson on the rampage to the open side, and here is that man, Justin Clegg, putting away Markham. Back on the ball, a little 1-2 between the second row pairing at the end of this game. Takanaka finding Norman. Norman going through a gap. Great feet from him. Just running out of room, but it's still live in the hands of Durham. They go down the short side through Markham in that distinctive red scrum hat. Time for them to get a consolation score. Better from Durham. Harbinson running hard even in the final depths of this game. They have numbers over into the hands of Devine. Devine dotting down with one hand in the corner, and a just try for a man who's played magnificently in this game. A great bit of running rugby, and that is the sort of rugby that we saw in the first half from Durham. A little bit too late and not enough of it in this game for them, but this is what we like to see. In off the right wing, Rory Hardman. The pass almost going into row Z, but well plucked out of the air by Kai Devine.
Even though that was a consolation try, that is something that they can use as momentum going into next week's fixture. That's something that they should have been doing throughout the second half, and if they had, this game may have looked, the scoreline may have looked different. But individual errors mixed in with good pressure by the backs of Northumbria have won the game.
I mean, that was a fantastic period of play there. The way they went through the phases, recycled the numbers, went left, went right, and then came all the way left, and bringing in that extra man off the right wing, Rory Hardman. He just came in at such an angle, at such a pace. You can't stop it or stop a team when they bring in a man with his gas to the attacking line. Not long left to play here at Kingston Park. Neil Chivers, our man in the middle, done a fantastic game. Fantastic refereeing from him this evening. Handing out a couple of yellow cards, but all just, and kept control of the players as well once they decided to get a little bit shirty with each other. Good game management from the referee tonight. Markham, though, still running hard and straight. Robinson just trying to pluck the ball out of Takanaka's hands there. The captain for Northumbria still working hard on the floor, but much better period of play here by Durham, and the try scorer Devine still working hard. Ben Foles pumping his thighs into contact there. Harbinson, Ethan Harbinson, number 19 on his back. Seen a lot of him since he's come onto the pitch.
Oh, massive hit there by Suvamasi.
12 on 12 there, wasn't it? And
he's going to feel that one tonight. Stinger hit there.
I'm sure there'll be handshakes exchanged at the end of the game between Wilson and Masai. Good intent from Durham at the end of this game. Still trying to play it and run it. Charlie Norman, bit of an outside break we've seen from the number 13 in this game. Trying to play here once again. Norman with the ball in hand, wriggling away from tackles, showing his elusive footwork. Ball still with Durham. Clegg, the captain, nudging his way into the Northumbria 22. Sending it wide down the touchline into the 5-metre channel. Another great hit by Masai, throwing his body about in the last seconds of this game. Another big hit there as well. That looked like it was Aidan Maloney for Northumbria. Both teams still slogging it in the final moments of this game. Norman into the hands of Devine, the try scorer, back on this near touchline, trying to sniff out a gap, looking for that try line once again. Lewis, a solid game from him since he's been on the left wing for Durham.
They're looking at a different side here, and Durham, they show they can do it. Unfortunately, this game they didn't do it. They've left it too late here.
They let it get away from them, haven't they? But they're still going. Good tackle from Ollie Robinson, the Northumbria number 8, just bringing to ground Elliot Manley, rather. My apologies. Takanaka looking for some quick ball. Norman pulling the strings in these late stages of the game. Clegg, like a tank through the middle. Still working hard. Coming ever closer to the line, and that is a try for Durham at the death. Well, we said, didn't we, last week Leeds Beckett got 2 tries within the last 5 minutes, and Durham had done the same here. And I think that is number 18, Joe Burdis, with the ball in hand, who's crashed over in the final stages.
Yeah,
Boom!
That was Joe Burdis, the replacement prop. Durham, it baffles me really how it's taken them around 79 minutes of this match to really get into their top form. I think it's going to baffle Alex Kieh, the Durham coach, as well. But they know they can. They know they've got the quality, and we're going to wish them well for next week's game.
And they've missed a few conversions as well, a few kicks at goals, and add on those points and they'd be in with a losing bonus point, which
is out of reach at the moment. Well, it is out of reach now, but
the last play of the game you expect. But much better tempo and intensity from Durham, and the way they were just putting the phases together, real great continuity about their play.
They kept the ball in hand, no mistakes. I think that's the main.
And one of the things we mentioned as well, great conversion there for Charlie Norman. One of the things we mentioned as well about using the forwards more and keeping it tight, and they did that successfully. A really challenging game here at Kingston Park tonight. We've seen some fantastic running rugby, both teams throwing the kitchen sink at each other from the kick-off. Northumbria University, the home side, coming out on top here in Kingston Park. Final score, Northumbria 34, Durham 25. A really full throttle Northeast derby. Northumbria go top after round 8 of the Bucks Super Rugby League. And man of the match here in the commentary box from Northumbria, Will Muir. We wish Tom Catterick all the best. He looked in pain as he was limping off towards the end of that second half. And the home side looked delighted. I'm sure they'll be heading out on the tiles tonight, Alec.
It was a game of two halves, Scott. Northumbria, they did go in with the lead going into that first half. Maybe not deservedly, but they did go in, and with a second half with that early Will Muir try, they just went on from there. Durham, no response until the final few minutes, which was then too late, but well deserved, and Northumbria are still unbeaten at home.
So, for Northumbria, played 7, won 6, lost 1. Tough game in context for them against Leeds Beckett next week. Leeds Beckett playing some fine rugby themselves this season, although they sit down in 4th this Bucks Super Rugby table. So it is Northumbria on top with 31 points, Exeter in 2nd with 29, Cardiff Met still there in 3rd on 27, and Leeds Beckett narrowly behind in 4th on 25 points. So here are the highlights. Durham full throttle from the kickoff. Thinking here that it was Hardman over the line. The referee saying it was held up. Take 2 though for Durham. Rawcliffe with the offload to Devine, out to Hardman. Hardman with the step on the inside, pops it out to Rawcliffe, who juggles that one in and dots over the line for the first try of the game on 8 minutes. Catterick with the successful conversion. Koki with the quick tap. Still don't know who got that one up here in the commentary box, do we, Alec? But a good response 2 minutes later from Northumbria. Jake Rogers with the conversion. All this inside 13 minutes. 40-metre penalty for Tom Catterick. And this is a great try. Masai just slipping on the outside of the tackle into the hands with a nice flat pass to Will Muir for his first try of the game. Jake Rogers putting his left boot to good use. Catterick with another successful penalty there, showing his skills off the tee. But this try really sort of changed the way the first half was being played. Interception by Rory Howarth, who was a constant threat under the high ball and in attack throughout the whole game. Just after the 30-minute mark, half-time scores, they went in 19-13 up. Jake Rogers with the penalty and conversion, but it was at the start of the second half where Will Muir, using his footballing skills and pure gas, managing to wriggle his way over the line. North Durham were caught napping, and it was the assistant referee who said that one was touchdown over the line. A great score for him. He was our man of the match. But look at this, on a sixpence, collected by Dominic Warby on the near touchline. Hash of a conversion, Alec. Not very good. When Jake Rogers went off, conversions weren't as crisp. Durham, though, even at the death here, their penultimate try, Hardman coming in off the right wing into the hands of Devine. Lovely dive to finish it off there. Norman not much better with his first attempt at goal, but great play from Durham in the final stages to really open up this solid Northumbria defence. Final score of the game from Joe Burdis, and a great successful conversion from Charlie Norman, the outside centre. He was influential for Durham all day today, despite being up against this expert Northumbria side. So a great game today at Kingston Park. It's been a pleasure to bring this coverage to you of the Bucks Super Rugby round. We've had 2 cracking games this week, and next week we head down to Loughborough. 7 o'clock kickoff, Wednesday the 22nd of November, against Exeter University. A big game in prospect. Thanks for joining me and Alec tonight. Final score from Kingston Park: Northumbria 34, Durham 25.